Okay.
Welcome to the Goose One channel. You might be noticing something a little bit different about this shot, and that's that I'm, yeah, you can see it. You can see it. You can probably see it. I just want to do this real quick because, I think this is a special. Well, it's not a special video. I just want to give a quick update because I've got a lot of big videos coming. I'm working on a lot of big videos, and I'm pumping out this video because I don't really think I'll have those big videos out anytime soon. And I just want to have something to tide you guys over. You 75 of you guys, I guess. It's not a lot of people, but it's more than I expected to get. So I just want to say thank you, and let's get into the video proper. Welcome to the Goose One channel. This is episode 3 of my free random game review series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the link to the first episode will be in the description below, and if you don't want to do that for some reason, it's a pretty simple concept, so I'll just explain it real quick. In this series, I'll go on itch.io, press the random game button a few times, pick the free games that seem most fun or interesting, and then I play them and give them a quick review. Got it? Well, let's get started. With the first game on our list, we have Lights Off, a first-person experience about a subject that many former children can probably relate to, turning the lights off before going to bed. It's definitely an interesting experience, and no, fuck this. I can't even play anymore. Fuck this game, fuck this game, fuck this game. I hate this game. God, okay, sorry. Let's just be clear. This is not a bad game. It's a good game. I hate it. It feeds right into my fears so fucking well, and I can't bear playing it, which I guess makes it an effective horror game. It keeps me on my toes, creeps me the fuck out, and scares the shit out of me, which are basically 3 sentences for the same fucking thing. Okay, fine. I'll try to say something else about it. You've probably already noticed the PSX-like graphics and made up your own conclusion about them, but personally, despite the overabundance of games using that style, it's still one I personally really appreciate. I think that indie horror games taking a turn from trying to be somewhat realistic, like Layers of Fear and that spiritual PT successor that I'll pop up on screen if I find it, to a more simplistic stylized style, is just really good. It allows devs to work more on the scares and the gameplay and other stuff rather than the graphics. The graphics also tie into how Lights Off builds its atmosphere, which is something it pulls off spectacularly, judging from how I talked about the game earlier. Even in the first few seconds of the game, it manages to pull everything, including the premise, the graphics, the sound design together to create this incredibly unnerving feeling that just does not go away. There's always a scratching, a breathing, a huffing sound just a bit away, disturbing the otherwise serene yet still eerie silence. You go through a few nights of turning off all the lights where nothing really happens until on one particular night when you step into bed, you're suddenly bombarded by the sound of quickly approaching footsteps and a blood-curdling scream. And probably an actual jump scare too if I actually opened my character's eyes when I heard that. It's just an incredibly effective use of all its elements to create this unnerving, scary build-up that crescendos into an actually frightening jump scare. And even though I hated playing it, I'd have to at least give it a 7 out of 10. And I really implore you to play it if you can stomach it, because there's definitely a few things that I neglected to tell you about, and I think you should see them for yourself. On a brighter note, we have Stick It to the Stick Man. If I had to describe this game in one word, it would have to be charm. This side-scrolling roguelike, gameplay-wise similar to something like Dead Cells, although stylistically probably closer to Going Under, managed to make the most of its admittedly meager parts. The combat system, consisting of using only one attack button, manages to be impressively versatile. This variety comes mostly from the sheer number of different attacks you can have, the order they come in, and the upgrades you get. On top of that, the combat itself is just incredibly satisfying. Crunchy and impactful sound design mixed with great, if simplistic, visuals come together to create an experience that's just unequivocally fun. And that simplicity is where the charm comes in, because for how minimal the game is, it oozes charm. From the dialogue to the little visual touches that are there to the references hidden within certain attack names, SITTS manages to come across as incredibly sincere for a game about working at a company. That sincerity also comes to a crescendo when, upon a fully successful run, you get to throw Jeff Bezos off a building. Huzzah! All in all, I think Stick It to the Stick Man is just an incredibly fun and satisfying game, one with a promising future and well deserving of the 9 out of 10 I'm giving it. And if it seems interesting to you, please check it out, it's well worth your time. Finally, we've got Doghouse 2. This game is weird. If you've ever played Scroll Stapler, the vibe of this game might seem familiar, but it definitely does deviate from that game's style quite a bit. One thing you'll notice is that much like Lights Off, Doghouse 2 uses a PSX style art style, although this time to different results. You see, Lights Off uses the off-putting nature of PSX era graphics to create a threatening, intimidating aura. Doghouse 2 also affects that same feeling, although to a lesser extent, as it also uses the style to create a heightened sense of reality, a feeling of bizarreness. And while it also has some admittedly pretty frightening moments, I think the moments where it leans into the absurd just hit a bit harder. Like the scene where you take lasagna out of the oven, eat basically half the thing, and get transported to a comedy show hosted by Leonard, your dog whom you're building a house for, before abruptly getting sent back to the house. Or even the disco dog ending, which you should really try for yourself because the effect just does not work as well if I describe it to you or just show it to you on screen. Doghouse 2's developer, Tumblewed, just has a pretty good grasp on the style of comedy and the vibe of the game they want to make, and that's pretty damn admirable. In the end, Doghouse 2 is a short, about 20 minutes, but still pretty engaging and interesting game about building your dog a house. It's got a haunting atmosphere, a good sense of humor, and gameplay that might not be stellar, but isn't necessarily any worse than any other walking sim out there. I'm giving Doghouse 2 a 7.5 out of 10. And that's the end. I hope you enjoyed this new installment of Free Random Games. If you're a new sub, maybe think about checking out the other episodes, and I'll see you all later.